software's all changed. It's all updated. Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 5th of January. So, Happy New Year to you all. Let's get cracking with the markets and take a look at what's going on. So, first things first, let's just have a look at the calendar. Sorry, this is my first update since I've been back, so I'm just going to refresh this. This is going back to December. I don't really want December. There we go. Let's go into January. That's what I want to look at. Today we've got very little news coming out. Of course, I'm looking at fundamental type news here as opposed to news which of what Trump's up to with Venezuela and those sort of political risk is completely different, and it will affect the market, and we have seen already the dollar strengthen as a consequence of that. Haven't really seen the yen strengthen as well, so we'll see. Maybe it was happening anyway. Right, so let's just go back to the news there. First things first then. So looking at what we got first thing then, manufacturing PMI, US data. Okay, bit of US data there at 3 p.m. Not massive for this morning. Let's look at the technicals then. So this is my first look at the technicals with you this morning. I've left everything completely switched off. I take a complete break from the markets, and so it's all new to me as well. Right, let's take a look then. So we're looking at the euro dollar here. I'm just going to go through the majors quite quickly, and the usual suspects as well: gold, oil, and the equity market. So let's get cracking. The euro dollar here looks like it's finding a little bit of support, or just short of the daily 34 there. 4 hourly wise, we're sitting into a quarterly pivot. I say on my 4 hourly bars, I've got the quarterly pivots on here. It's found a bit of support off that quarterly pivot here. The new pivots, actually, let's just go back one, and yeah, new yearly pivots right away down here, so it's a long way away, the quarterly pivot. So sitting there at the moment, giving some support. Moving on then, so it's the quarterly pivot, daily pivots well above where we are at the moment. But with looking at the price action we're seeing, come back to the quarterlies for a moment, lower highs, lower lows going through there at the moment. It is the support side. Does it look like I really want to be buying off of this? Not really. It's the weakness in this market is quite strong. It could of course carry on bouncing further, but we'll have to wait and see. But I'd look for a reversal on the lower time frames here on the hourlies to prove it's moving the other way. For now, everything's shaped for the downside. A break of the quarterly pivot, in fact, will give us another lower high. Could be a trigger at some point. It may be today a bit of wait and watch as the markets really get back to play out normally, he says. So the pound yearly pivot right away down here, new yearly pivot. It could be come into play at some point in the future, but for now we've got my own pivot here, which is an area which where the price keeps coming back to, finding support, resistance into it. It just goes way back. This particular level, it seems to be quite a key level. We're heading back towards that at the moment. We've got the quarterly pivots. It's just below its last year's quarterly pivot. This year's quarterly pivot's heading south down there as well, so it's got quite a drawdown that way. Price action here, well, it was steady leading through most of December there. Then of course as we get towards the end of December, it's chipped around a little bit. A bit of uncertainty of course coming through here. It does look soft. Again, really this has got less support and maybe the better short potential here as we run through. Maybe just, as I say, first day back, sometimes it's best to watch and learn what the market's really, or where it's really going back into being. but for now it does look quite soft here. Maybe a break of that lower high, giving us a lower high will give us a bit of a trigger there. Okay, US dollar yen. The yen hasn't strengthened with the dollar. Normally when we get risk off, we'll see the yen and maybe the Swissy as well strengthen. We're certainly not seeing the yen strengthen here. It's weakened against the US dollar here. It's US dollar yen, it's stronger. 4 hourly wise, I'm just looking at, can't see the quarterly pivots at all coming in. Oh, there it is, right way down here. It's a long way off the quarterly pivot here. We've got the daily pivot though, sorry, weekly pivot, beg your pardon, sitting maybe at some point will be attacked. It has looked like it's knocked onto that weekly R1 first though. That's not necessarily the most bullish of signals in terms of, I say bullish, most positive signal for it to hit the pivot now. It reduces the probability if it hits the R1 before it hits the pivot. So looking at shorter time frame, yeah, we've run into some resistance on this shorter time frame. We've already done everything here this morning. It's already had quite a move. As with before, well, towards the end of last year, for a few months leading to the end of last year, we might see quite a price action here. Now we're into sort of London session or European session. Aussie dollar. Aussie's trying to hold up better than some of the other markets there. It was doing quite well, but lower time frames. If things started picking up again, or the dollar started selling off, the Aussie might benefit a little bit better, but it's quite choppy and ugly on the hourlies here at the moment, which it often does at this time, but it's got quite messy. I'll leave that alone. It's not showing anything safe to get into. The US dollar CAD, well, it's softened in terms of the CAD. The dollar strengthening here, having found support last year into its quarterly S1 there, heading back up to the new quarterly pivot by the looks of things here at the moment. High lows, higher highs coming through. There's quite a bottoming sort of pattern that's sort of sitting there. You can see it, well, you can see it clearly on the 4 hourlies actually, sort of just bottoming out. Looks like that we could see more strength coming through on this dollar yet. I don't really like it today. It's already into it's done too much today already effectively. Pivots maybe a bit pinched together in overall size there, but well, we'll see what happens on that. Okay, New Zealand dollar. This looks softer than the Aussie dollar for sure. They've normally run quite similarly. This has been just not recovered the same, and to me, lower highs coming through here still looks pretty soft here. Has found support off its new quarterly pivot. We'll see how that develops, but spiked into that. It had quite a spike down there at the beginning there. As yesterday, spiked down into that sort of level, but showing lower highs here at the moment. Okay, and finally of the majors here, the US dollar Swissy. So Swissy, as I say, not really gaining anything. The dollar's gaining against the Swissy slightly here, although it's quite stalled. It's quite stubborn. Looking through last week there, quite choppy and ugly. I really don't like markets like this, and this is why I avoid the Christmas period. They can be a bit all over the place. Now's the time to see what sort of shape we're going to get, and maybe give us the direction going forward. But with this at the moment, well, again, strong dollar all the way through across these markets, and it looks like we've got potential further upside there. Right, so nothing immediate. There's a few potential there in terms of on the breakdowns giving us lower highs, confirmation, etc. Looking at gold, it's up nicely to up 2%, but bigger picture here, well, it did have that hit on the 29th of December. It took a solid old sell-off it had there, but it's consolidated since and pushing back up there. With the risk that sits in these markets at the moment, it may be seen as a bit of a safety aspect here. It's given us a higher low on the shorter time frame here. Looks like it's got some mileage, but it has done quite a bit of a movement already here. Personally, I would let this settle itself out, and yes, I might miss something by doing so, but it's a case of deciding on which pain you want: the pain of watching, of discipline, of watching and waiting, or the pain of regret. So it's up to you really there. Personally, I'll take the pain of watching and waiting. Right, patience. That's a Jim Rohn quote, badly put though. So oil here coming off here, regardless of what's happening with Venezuela and its oil, etc. It seems very its production has been down for a while and been hit already there. Lower highs, lower lows, quite a mess here. This is just again patience needed there. Right, let's look at the equity markets. We'll start off with the S&Ps. Now these have been had been back on Friday 26th there, had been pushing up their new yearly highs there. Are we going to get something changing around here at the moment? Looks like lower interest rates. From small snippings I've seen, I've done my best to keep away from the markets, etc., to get a complete clear head. Lower highs, lower lows coming through though on the 4 hourlies here. Last week running into this week, then looking a little bit on the softer side at the moment. Generally, when we get bigger risk coming into the market, the money runs into bonds and not equities. So we'll have to wait and see what this does. But with potential lower interest rates, it's good for the equity market. So there's a couple of things. It's which way is it going to go? There's plenty of reasons why the equity markets are overbought, but they've been overbought for most of the last year apparently. Lower highs, lower lows coming through here. I'm just looking. There's the potential of this selling off. Bit of wait and see will be worthwhile. Looking at the FTSE, it's certainly coming off this morning. First thing, let's have a look at the bigger picture here. We had made all-time highs though on last Friday, pushing through there, coming off a little bit of a correction at the moment. Shouldn't leave the juniors there to play, eh? Look what they've done. But again, it looks like interest rates are going to be cut, and even more, there's more sort of reasons coming through out there. However, it's quite a move for the first 5 minutes of play here, isn't it? Anyway, we'll see. See what happens, whether it gets a bit of support and turns around quickly. But for now, it's a bit of wait see on that as well. The DAX. Finally finish up with the DAX. What we got going on here? So DAX still looking quite positive overall, pushing up there. This is higher lows, higher highs still coming through. Overall looking positive. Don't know what happened with the pivots there. Anyway, today's pivots, everything going on. I wouldn't want to be shorting against these. I know there'll be plenty of people wanting to take the short side of what's going on here because it's making all new time highs, it's overbought and everything else. But personally, it's huge risk with the strength that's been running through into these equity markets. So I'll wait see for now. So looks like the equity markets have benefited from, I mean, there aren't any potential lower interest rates coming through in the Eurozone, so we can't place any joy down to that. Interest rates are already down at 2.25, I think it is, so amongst the lowest out there, and lots of potential concerns. But unlikely to see any rate cuts there. Anyway, benefiting anyway. Right, I'll leave you there. Have a great day's trading, and I will catch you. I'll catch you in the morning. Take care. Bye for now.